Hello everyone. I might be having a bit of a rant today, you know. And it's about a lot of things, but it comes down to how do puppy buyers select breeders. Now, I'm not saying this because I need people or want people to like exclusively select me. Sorry, I'm just rescuing puppies. But my main advice to anybody purchasing a puppy is be suspicious. Think about the worst case scenario of the way people... Right, Aria, just lean back. You know, if people are, say, only lead walking their dogs or using secure fields, find out why. Why aren't they walking off lead where you might encounter other dogs? You know, is there an issue with temperaments? Is there an issue with reactivity in your dogs? Because that would be my first thought. They naturally be suspicious. Jude, shush. Jude telling Pod off for potentially lying down next to her. I got Lani and Pumpkin playing with a toy. Find out where their dogs live. You know, do all of their dogs live in a house? If they don't, why? You know, I'd be busting to have a look at Mr. Pink's collar. Here you go. Yeah, this. If have a look at the health testing results. Have a look at the company they use for those health tests. So, you know, look at the company for beta testing. If you use Perdita's Pet Services, which is Louise's company, it's been established for many years. She has many customers that are repeat customers, loyal customers that have stayed with her for years. That's reputable. You know, if you ask Louise what she does if there's a hearing result that isn't as expected, she offers a free retest if people think the result has changed. Find out from other people about companies that do the hearing tests. And then you go on to like hip scoring. And hip scoring is only a recommended test for Dalmatians. It's not a requirement like the hearing test is. But there are breeds out there with crazy high rates of hip dysplasia, crazy high scores with their hip scores. And I believe in hip scoring because it's not allowing the Dalmatian scores to get in a knot like some of the other breeds. You think of German Shepherds, hips, they're known for bad hips. Labradors are known for hips and elbows too. It's not to say all German Shepherds or Labradors have bad scores, but you know, St. Bernards, Newfoundlands, they all have crazy high scores. And that's because they allowed the breed to get away from them. They allowed the scores to get away from them, which means that a lot of dogs have suffered. So, you know, to be honest, Aria hasn't been hip scored. And that is literally, she's been booked in twice and she's come in to seize and not been able to go. And because it's a routine procedure, it's not something that can be booked in that quickly. And then, you know, it's got to fit in with everything else too. But Pod's been hip scored. Miss Green from that litter has been hip scored with the same scores. Nala's been hip scored, and so have two of her sisters. All of these siblings have had the same score as each other. Nala's mum and her auntie have been hip scored with good scores. Nala's grandmother has been scored with good scores. So as well as that, like, I watch Aria and she's not lame. She's never lame. You see dogs in the ring that are regularly lame. Now, me being me, I do a bit of detective work when I see a lame dog, and I look through the lines and I see if there's a common, you know, kennel, a common sire, a common line through it. And if that happens more than once from a certain sire or grandsire, I just put it down to there's something there, there's a genetic link there, and stay away. But what you could do, so for example, Arya's not hip scored. By the way, Nugget's hip scored and he's got good scores, and, you know, several members of his family are all scored with good scores. So, you know, you hedge your bets a bit. But if you were concerned about Arya not being hip scored, you look through her family lines. Look at dogs from her grandsire. What sort of scores do they have? Look at scores from her dam line. What sort of scores do they have? If you can go generations without finding hip scores, or with only finding bad ones, stay away. Just stay away. And, you know, the other thing is, like, people are very, very quick to criticise people for breeding dogs because they're using their dogs to earn money. Number one, you don't earn a fraction of what people think you do. But I feel like if you invest in health testing, you're showing a commitment to the breed. You're showing that you're willing to spend money to make sure you're not doing damage to the breed. You're showing a dedication to your dog that means that, you know, you're not just breeding for the sake of breeding. And I mean, breeding's a lottery anyway. I don't know all the genes that these puppies are carrying. Nobody can. Nobody does, because not all the genes, not all the conditions can be tested for. But the things that can be tested, it seems crazy not to test them, in my opinion. And, you know, if you're not sure again about a dog, a certain sire, a certain pedigree, Nala, come here. Nala, come here. Go to a show. Try and watch members of that family. Try and watch the sire in the ring. Try and watch the dam in the ring, or the sisters, or the, you know, the family. See what they look like. See what they act like. See what they behave like. See what they move like. Nala, leave it! Oh, bad dog. You bad dog. You know, and just saying I'm breeding for pets doesn't mean you couldn't health test too. You know, if you think, like, I've brought 10 lives into this world with this litter. Jude, shut up! Jude, enough. So I'm responsible. It's my responsibility to make the best choices possible on the way I raise them. The choices of dam, the choices of sire, the choices of wormers, the choices of enrichment ideas, the choices of exposure, the choices of everything is all on me. And it's all to make sure... George, please shut up. Pumpkin, shut up. It's because they're all snuggled on top of one another on the sofa. I lost my train of thought. Now, this isn't about me, you know, getting on at certain breeders. It's about the buyers thinking about things, thinking about the choices they're making informed decisions on which breeder they're buying from. You know, I personally would be very suspicious if I didn't see regularly where these puppies are being raised, what they're doing. Ask what food the puppies are being weaned on. If it's a cheap brand, be concerned, because the food they eat contributes to their health. And, you know, diet is important for the mum and the puppies. Okay, I'm just going to pause this. I got an incoming call. So yeah, like, I wouldn't expect people to do the level of social media and pictures and videos that I do. Like, it's a lot. But I do know of other breeders that do put, of Dalmatians that put a hell of a lot of pictures up. I mean, you've seen Aria every single day. You know and can see the condition of her, how well she looks, how content she is, what a good mum she is. Because even how good of a mum the bitch is will affect how your puppies turn out. You know, there's lots of things that contribute to how these dogs are. You know, there's a line of dogs that regularly destroy things. They destroy dog beds, sofas, the lot. Anything. They chew and destroy lots of things. There's a connection there because several generations of that family do it. But like, you know, it's not something that people would necessarily attribute to a line. But if you look, there's many generations, many dogs that do it. So it's definitely a link there, definitely. But it doesn't guarantee that every dog from that litter will. It doesn't mean that, you know, people shouldn't buy those dogs, those puppies. But I think it is very useful to know that if you're having a dog from that litter, there's a fair chance it's going to destroy things. You know, and be picky. Like, can you imagine hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds you could be potentially spending on new dog beds, new sofas, vet bills because they've eaten things they shouldn't. You know, it's a commitment, and you could argue it's training, you could argue it's enrichment, you could argue you need to crate them when you can't supervise them. There's lots of things that can be done in those situations that wouldn't mean you shouldn't get a dog from that. But it's all about being prepared and doing your research. The biggest thing I can ever tell people is do your research. You know, you may not like the dogs I have, the sire I use, the way I raise them, and that's fine. That's your opinion. That's cool. But I know that all my dogs live in the house. All my puppies are born and raised in the house. My puppies have toys. They have a stimulating environment. From the day they're born, I do things with them. You know, the daily weigh-ins, the ENS work, the toys that they sleep on and cuddle on, and even starting to bite and mouth a little bit. I know the diet they're weaned onto is good. I know that they get health tested. I know I've picked a reputable hearing test company. I do my best. Yeah, you may not do everything the same as me, but people really need to wake up and think about where they're getting these dogs from and what is genetic and what is chance. You know, for lines that may have a lot of joint problems, it's not to say you couldn't or shouldn't have one of them. But knowing about it, making sure, again, an appropriate diet, because under or overdoing on certain nutrients can contribute to joint problems. A suitable exercise program can help prevent future joint problems. You know, there's lots of things that can be done, but people have got to know, and breeders have got to wake up and be honest. Like, it would have been so easy for me to hide their puppy pyoderma. Like, it was a bit embarrassing to show them, because they just didn't look like newborn puppies should. And it would have been so easy just to hide them and not put them on social media. And because I know people had judged me on that. But there was nothing I could do to prevent it. But I immediately helped the problem. I immediately bathed them in proper prescribed medicated shampoo. Aria got medication and antibiotics the second she needed it. You know, problems happen, and it's educational. Like, I know there are people watching this channel that breed. So them watching these puppies and the way I do things, and any problems that may arise with my litter, might help them in the future. They might, you know, somebody might get puppy pyoderma in the future in a litter, and they'll go, okay, I've seen this before. I know what this is. I know what I need to do. So I think people have got to stop criticizing each other so much when problems arise, but look at ways to help, look at ways to make the situation better. And the lack of honesty is just doing a disservice to everyone. I could rant about this for a while, I'm not going to lie. And again, just to reiterate, this isn't personal to anyone. It is just examples of things I've seen, examples of situations I've seen, examples of people making poor decisions, people not willing to take the risk and health test their dog because it may mean losing that dog from their program. And you know what? If that's what needs to happen, then do it, because, you know, the future generations of this breed need people to make tough decisions sometimes. So yeah, I've rambled and ranted for a while now. So I'm going to leave this here, and I shall see you all soon. Bye.